Coffee at the Crossroads, written by Sjanevardsson. Nexus Coffee Bar sat in a place of pride in the middle of the Nexus, situated at a crossing point between Earth and the outer planes, between heaven and hell. It sat at a crossroads of reality. As such, it was frequented by customers both celestial and infernal. Not that one could tell the difference by looking. In fact, I blended right in, and I am neither. Long ago, I discovered I could walk out of hell uncontested. I never made it further than the Nexus before finding myself back again, though. Each trip I could spend more and more time here, as long as I didn't let my mind go blank. It was on one of those trips that I realized the coffee bar was free, and I became a regular. Did you hear the latest AD status? The voice that whispered in my ear with a warm puff belongs to Azrisha, or Ray, as she preferred. Azrisha was an invertebrate flirt, which I figured out on our first meeting. She was also an infernal, although I only found that out after we'd talked a few dozen times. No, I didn't. Interesting news? I whispered back. I learned a long time ago to just go along with the conversation and not try to fake any sort of knowledge I didn't have, like what an A&D stat was, or why I should care. She's just excited because we're slipping, the voice whispered in my other ear, although with less breath, belonging to the celestial Lillian. I turned around and leaned in close to the two, who stood with an arm around each other's waist. Why are we whispering? I don't know, as Rachel whispered. There was an awkward moment between the three of us. I'm not sure who started it, but we fell into a fit of the giggles. An outside observer would never guess that a slim, pale, freckled-faced, ponytailed redhead was an infernal. The short, dun-skinned brunette with bright green eyes and a hint of pink in her cheeks was a celestial, or that the dark brown-skinned woman with messy black curls was a human who had walked out of hell. Should I pick up our order while you two find a table? I asked. You're such a dear, Lillian said. I'll have a triple anger brew today. I'm going to need the energy. Just my usual, cutie, as Raisha brushed her hand against my cheek. Okay, triple anger and half love and luster, and a double piece for me. I'll be right back. One of the unusual features of the Nexus coffee bar was the ordering system. Once one decided what they wanted, it was started without requiring any other input, except for times when it was super busy. It was enough to decide on entering what to order and head straight to the counter to pick it up. Our coffees were sitting in a carrier on the counter by the time I got there, tucked between the cups and a flyer. I found the ladies at the table in a back corner and joined them. Lillian looked at the flyer and said, Ooh, full tasting tomorrow. I'll be here. She held out the flyer. Ray? As Rachel read it, a smile spreading across her face. I love these things. I wonder if they'll have any new flavors this time, or just the usual fall lineup. Either way, you know I'll be here. She passed the flyer to me. What about you, Abby? A coffee tasting. I've never been to one, I smiled. I think it'll be fun. Lillian raised an eyebrow. On that note, I think Ray is bursting to tell her news. As Raisha sat up straight, shoulders back. The AD rate for the last quarter is just insane. 6.4 ascension, which is just about average, but her eyes widened. Dissension was up from 0.3% to 2.4%. Dissension? I asked. Ascension made sense to me. Those who ascended from hell to heaven. Did this mean that it could work the other way too? It's incredibly rare, or at least it used to be, as Rachel answered. But sometimes souls travel from heaven to hell. There's been some sort of emotional sickness, a sort of mimetic virus spreading there, Lillian sighed. We're doing what we can to limit the spread, but it's difficult. As Raisha hugged her, Lily, I'm here for you. You'll get through this. Lillian leaned her head against Raisha's shoulder. Thanks, Ray, but don't call me Lily. Lillian sat up and started in on her extra strong coffee. So, Abby, how much longer do you think it'll be before you ascend? I was stunned. It didn't occur to me that they might know that I wasn't one of them. What? Raisha laughed. Don't be surprised. We knew that you were a human all along. She leaned in close. You've already figured out that you can walk out of hell. I nodded. I can, but I keep popping back there. It's annoying. Ray lifted my face with a gentle finger on my chin. When you figure out what you're holding on to, you'll be out for good. What I'm holding on to? I searched her blue eyes for an answer, but found none. I just keep getting dragged back. As Raisha leaned forward, close to rubbing noses. The only thing that can drag you anywhere is you. She gave me a quick kiss on the forehead. We have to get to our jobs. See you here tomorrow. I wandered around the Nexus for a while, mulling over what Ray had said. According to her, something I'm holding on to is the reason I keep going back to hell. To put it out of my mind, I watched the crowd streaming through, trying to guess celestial or infernal. But from the way Ray and Lillian had just acted, any of them could be human as well. With that, the game lost its luster, and I found myself back in hell. It's not like the stories. There's no fire and brimstone, or demons with pitchforks, or anything even remotely sinister. Instead, it's my life. But the only parts I can see are those where I made a mistake, wronged someone, or hurt someone. At first, it was every single horrible moment. Over time, I grew inured to most of them. Now, only one remained. Mom, look, I don't have time for this. My exasperated sigh was exaggerated for effect. I'm going to the mountains with some friends from work. We can talk about it when I get back. My knuckles grew white as I gripped the cell my mother droned on. Abby, I really feel like I need to see you today. Her voice shook. I don't feel, I just feel, something feels off and, I need you here. Mom, I just spent the whole weekend with you last week. My friends want to see me now. I rolled my eyes. There's nothing wrong. Just watch your shows, and I'll stop when we get back Sunday evening. Abigail, please, I need to see you today. Mother, I love you, but you're being selfish and more than a little pain in the ass. You'll see me Sunday. Bye. I ended the call before she could say any more. I didn't get to experience the trip again, as that was a good time. Sunday morning, we packed up and headed back to civilization. As we reached the pass and re-entered the connected world, my phone blew up. Missed calls, texts, voicemails. My friends dropped me at the hospital, and I left my bags with them. My mother didn't see me on Sunday. She had a stroke 2 hours after our call, fell into a coma, and never recovered. I held her hand and cried, begged for her forgiveness. She had reached out to me, and I blew her off. More than anything, I hoped that she knew that I loved her. After I endured this never-changing loop several hundred times, I forced myself to turn around and walk. The Nexus was never more than a few steps away, no matter how long I spent in hell. Every time I entered the Nexus was the next day relative to the last time I'd been there. Lillian and Raisha were already seated, and Lillian waved me over. You're just in time. They're bringing the samples out now. The tables were set with small plates, scorecards and pencils, water glasses, still water and sparkling water, soda crackers and pear slices. What's with the snacks? I asked. These are for cleansing your palate between samples, as Raisha placed a soda cracker and slice of pear on her plate and poured herself a glass of sparkling water. Lillian did the same, but with still water. I followed suit, and Raisha filled my glass with sparkling water before I could decide between the two. Waitstaff brought out trays of 5-shot glasses on each, numbered. In the center of the table, they placed 5 cards, face down, numbered on the backs. The fronts held the names of the drinks. The scorecard listed the numbers and a place to enter a score, 0 to 10 for each one. There was room for comments on the back of the cards, but Lillian told me hardly anyone filled their part out. We decided to go through them in order, starting at number 1. Lillian and Raisha decided that we wouldn't look at the names of any we hadn't yet tried. Ray sniffed the first. They do this one every fall, she said, and for some reason there are a lot of folks hooked on it. It smelled spicy and rich. The taste was warm and complex, with a sharp tang and an earthly sweetness underneath. It tastes a bit like cloves, nutmeg, cinnamon, and, is that pumpkin? I asked. As it went down, I felt a lurch in my stomach, as if I were falling. What is that? I turned over the card, but before I had a chance to read it, Raisha answered, Right, not my favorite. Hate it. She marked a dark 0 on the scorecard. Lillian, however, shivered once and beamed. "I take it you like it?" "It's the best part of 4, she said, marking a 10 on her scorecard. I marked it a 3, but probably should have marked it lower. The next, I hoped, would be better. After a small bite of cracker and pear, and a couple sips of water, we moved on to number 2. "Oh," Lillian said, after sniffing it. "If this is what I think it is, they haven't done this in a few years. I missed it." After her 10 on the first, I was hesitant to trust her recommendation. Still, that's what I was here for, to try new things. It smelled a bit like moist dirt. I took a sip, and Azracia and Lillian watched closely. There's a sweet but sour taste to it, kind of like a berry-top note. After swallowing the rest, I felt a mild case of the blues creeping up on me. I hesitated to turn the card over, but Lillian swooped in and did it. "Yes, they brought melancholy back." She marked another 10 on her scorecard, while Azracia and I both rated it a solid 6. She looked at our cards. "You two have no taste," says the woman who slams triple angers, Azracia said. We cleansed our palates and moved on to the next on the list. "The rest of these are all brand new," Azracia said. We could see that on the scorecards, where next to each of the remaining numbers was a little blue stamp that said brand new. But we didn't bother to point that out to her. The next one was difficult to define. Every time I thought I had a grip on the smell, I lost it. I'm not sure what that smells like. Besides coffee, Lillian and Azracia both looked confused as they smelled it. "Well, down the hatch." "It tastes like citrus or—" "No," Azracia said. "Not citrus. More like, I'm not sure what it tastes like. It's really subtle, almost insidious." I looked at the empty shot glass. I didn't feel anything, though. Wait. Maybe I did. I'm not sure. Frustrated, I grabbed the name card and turned it over. Doubt. Considering it does exactly what it says on the name, I want to rate it high, but the flavor is just so-so. After a quick back and forth, we all rated it a 5 and got ready for the next round. "It's got a peaty smell," Lillian said. We all agreed and swallowed it down. "Dark," Azracia said. "Almost too dark," I said. "Almost notes." The possibility that it was laced with cyanide popped into my head. My stomach tied itself in knots. My heart raced. Maybe drinking coffee designed for celestials and infernals was a bad idea for a human. "I love it," Azracia said, and marked it a 10 on her scorecard. Lillian marked it a 6. It's all right, but I don't think it agrees with Abby." Azracia handed me a cracker and a slice of pear. "Here, take this." I did. And as my panic cleared, the feeling went away. "Let me guess. Dread, right?" Azracia turned the card over. "Damn, she got it. I thought maybe it was loathing." I marked a 0 on that one, and we took a short break before the last one. Finally, we all grabbed our last sample and took a sniff. Lillian's nose wrinkled, and Azracia turned aside in disgust. To me, it smelled like home. "Well, we didn't come this far to back out now," Azracia said. She placed another cracker and several slices of pear on her plate and refilled her water. She took a deep breath and said, "Let's do this." Azracia swallowed, gagged, chugged her sparkling water, and then stuffed a cracker in her mouth. Lillian frowned. "That's the worst thing I've ever tasted," she said. "It's warm. It tastes familiar, comfortable," I said. "Maybe it's an acquired taste, but for some reason, it tastes normal to me." I marked it a 10, while Azracia and Lillian both marked it a 0. Azracia turned the card over and nodded. When she didn't say anything, I looked at the card myself. Guilt. Her words returned, that I needed to figure out what was holding on to me. That was it. "Azracia, thank you." "For what, Abigail?" She was casually nibbling on the remaining pear slices. "I know what keeps dragging me back." I lifted the shot glass. "That's Val," Lillian said. "You definitely need to let go of that." "I used to wish that we were more like humans," Azracia said. "I want to say I envied you, except when they do the envy blend in the spring. But I thought it must be nice to be able to feel emotions just whenever." "It's a bad deal, though," Lillian said. Who wants to feel anger when you need to focus, or contentment when you need to fight? Exactly as Raisha grabbed my hand and held it between her own. And who would ever want to feel that, she said, nodding at the shot glass in my other hand. I'd rather be run through with a spike. I felt the weight lift for the first time since my mother died. Tears began to pool in my eyes. Oh no, Lillian said. We made her cry. No, I said. I'm not sad. I'm just very happy right now. But you're crying, Lillian, as Raisha asked. Are you telling me that you've never heard of happy tears? Oh yeah, I've heard of it. I just thought it was a saying or something. I didn't know it was real. I turned the shot glass upside down and slammed it down on the table. Can I have a hug? Instead of answering, they both moved around the table and held on to me. I've let go of so many other things. I think it's time to let this go, too. As we held on to each other, I noticed that they both started tearing up. Happy tears, Lillian said, and she and Azratia laughed together. But how? I asked. I thought you couldn't feel emotion without... I nodded towards the empties on the table. That, Azratia said, or if a human openly shares it with us. Thank you. This is the most precious gift ever. We held each other for what felt like hours, although it was likely only a minute or two. You two probably need to get to work. Meanwhile, I think I'm ready to go home. They kissed me on the opposite cheeks. Then we untangled. The two of them hugged briefly and giggled, wiping their tears before walking their separate ways. I strolled around the Nexus, watching people, not trying to figure out who or what they were, but just watching. I cleared my mind and let myself drift, and a door opened to my right. Beyond the door stood my mother, arms open, a warm smile on her face. I ascended. End of story. I'd greatly like to thank our Tier 5 channel members, Casper Arnholtz, John Creighton, Manatharia, 050, Dragzoon WRE, and Elijah Silvercross. Thank you very much.